This is Ray Carsillo, and I'm coming to you from the Bryant Park Hotel in New York, and I'm with one of the producers from Ruffian Games, James Cope. How you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. It's nice to speak to you.
We just got a taste of Crackdown 2 coming out later this year, 2010, for Xbox 360. And it's, the first thing I'm going to ask you about, because we just had a taste of it, and let me tell you, I just blew up in a matter of moments, like half of the town that we were playing in, and it was just, it was unbelievable. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is well, I guess why so many explosions? I don't know.
Because it's fun. I mean, one of the things that we love from Crackdown is that everyone just really, really loved to blow things up, and that was such a, I don't know, a kind of a delightful little joy to just run around the city as a superhero, causing complete devastation in the. What's not to love about that, you know?
But of course, this is a sequel, and it takes place 10 years after the end of Crackdown 1. So my main question is in terms of the plot, why did you forward it 10 years between the two games?
We wanted to try and sort of take the character of the world and take it into a place that people may not have expected, some people may have expected, but we wanted to try and sort of satisfy one of the criticisms from the first game is really that, what's the purpose, what's going on in the world, who are the agency, and all these kind of those things. So we wanted to introduce a bit of a story without actually telling a story. So there's a lot of background context, there's a lot of information that the player will find out, there's key characters that they'll find more information about, things like that. So we felt that, in Crackdown, one of the biggest characters in Crackdown originally was the voice of the agency, the city the game was playing in, things like that. So we wanted to say, okay, here's an evolution of that city, and we took key inflection points from the first game and said, what happened if this happened? All of these kind of things we kind of plotted out inside of causality and all this kind of stuff. And we decided that, okay, well, Pacific City's now a bit of a ravaged environment. It's gone a bit wrong. The agency's gone wrong, and they're on the back foot. And we want to introduce the player into that world of empowerment again.
Now, the last time we were in Pacific City in Crackdown 1, your three gang factions that you ended up taking out over the course of the game, who's the main, antagonist for this game?
So really, the freaks are a little bit faceless. I mean, the main antagonist now, excuse me. So the leader of the cell, they're a terrorist group, Catalina Thorne. She's going to become an important character in Crackdown, and we'll be introduced to her in Crackdown 2, and I'm not going to talk about what happens, throughout that, but Catalina Thorne's going to be very important for us. And voice of the agency, we get to see little glimpses of what goes on in his mind and what he gets up to. And again, he's a key thing that we want to continue. We felt that he was just the most interesting character in Crackdown anyway. So again, it's about kind of introducing a little bit of background thinking about what's going on. We kind of satisfy players' desire to know more and things like that. So we're doing it in a much more structured way now. It's saving Pacific City for a real purpose this time, rather than just having this nondescript gang thing. There is actually a direct purpose to the game.
Now, in the first game, there was a very comic book kind of style going on, and it had of course, you had the superpowers. Talk about how you carried that over into this game, and how you may have improved upon it.
Oh, I mean, I think we've actually hit where we originally wanted to be. We always had this vision for a kind of graphic novel in motion. We wanted to have really vibrant colours, great contrasting between darks and lights. We wanted to really emphasise the fact that the day-night cycle in the game is more than just aesthetic. It's about changing the gameplay contrasts as much as the kind of visual contrasts. So you go from this kind of dark, sort of overbearing world at night where the freaks completely dominating the streets, where you can have lots of fun just mowing them down, to kind of nice bright sunny days in a kind of war-torn environment. Overcast skies come in and all that kind of stuff. So we wanted to really play with mood and atmosphere, but have that kind of look that just screamed Crackdown.
Now, of course, besides the superpowers, there's also a lot of weapons in the first Crackdown, and of course, that's pretty much how we caused so many explosions in my little taste of it before. Talk about some of the different weapons you have in Crackdown, too.
Oh, I mean, I think you had a taste of quite a few there. I mean, some of the favourites from Crackdown Return, of course, rocket launchers, and who doesn't like rocket launchers? But, the freaks and the situation that City's in now gives us a nice excuse to really play around with physical weapons like the UV shotgun. It's a physical repulsing device. It blasts things into the sky and it repulses enemies and things like that. But it incinerates freaks, which is good fun. And then you've got simple things like mag grenades, which I don't think we actually saw there, but they're very sort of physical attracting devices. You can stick them to objects and they sort of act like giant bungee cords and things like that. So, we've taken what we felt were really satisfying elements of Crackdown. We've built on those bigger rocket launchers, turret weapons, chain guns, and more rockets, more grenades that are just so immense in their explosive power that I think you had a good sample of those just then. Fragmentation grenades are just unbelievably powerful. But that's what we like. The bigger the better.
Sounds good to me. Speaking of big, the world is so massive, of course, and it pretty much carries over from Crackdown 1. Did you build up or build down or try to expand it in different ways?
We really tried to expand it in all ways that we could. We wanted to retain that familiarity of Pacific City. I mean, there are big new buildings, like the period of 10 years since the last game. We've had a period of prosperity in Pacific City, and great big new buildings, skyscrapers like Hope Tower have been built. As things have declined since that point, buildings have fallen over and they've been smashed apart. But really, we expanded the kind of vertical play space downwards as well as upwards, and we wanted to say that, okay, what's going on below the city with the freaks, and these big cavernous spaces below ground, they're going to give us, people, I kind of think a sort of an upwards vertigo more than a sort of downwards vertigo on rooftops. When you're running around in the bottom of freak layers, you're going to be pretty terrified, I think, with what's going on down there. And Project Sunburst and the entire kind of directed focus of the mission structure there is really good.
You mentioned Project Sunburst. Can you talk a little bit about the mission structure and what Project Sunburst actually is in the game?
Very simply, Project Sunburst is a giant energy weapon. So it's consisted of 3 constituent parts, really. It's kind of solar collectors, absorption units, and beacons. Now, these solar collectors and absorption units work together. You kind of activate them, and they focus energy across the city. And it's that focused energy is actually moving you towards destroying freak layers. So those tendrils of energy connect in a great big web, and you're working towards like the mother of all bombs, effectively. And each freak layer, you drop in a beacon, energy's focused downwards, it charges up, and you fight against freaks whilst this is all going on. And eventually it gets reached to its charge and destroys all the freaks in that area and takes out that freak layer. So that's effectively mission over. But you've got all of these different freak layers scattered across the world, and everything's going on to make sure that you're connecting all of this up to do the ultimate purpose in the game, which is Project Sunburst.
You mentioned the co-op, and the big thing that's added to this, aside the big difference between the first one, at least from what I've seen, is the multiplayer. Yeah. I got a chance at PAX East to try a little bit of Rocket Tag, and and obviously there's a death match, but there's also, like you mentioned, a 4-player co-op. Yeah. And the most amazing thing that I thought about that was that you guys were telling me is that you don't have to follow one person's game. 4 people can go to 4 different corners of the world. Talk about what inspired you to do that.
I think we believe that games are turning into this kind of like social experience as well as a kind of pure focused experience of one person sitting down in front of a TV. And what we really liked about Crackdown was the fact that it's not about the core game. You got together in co-op with your mate, and the core game didn't matter. It was about goofing off and having fun and blowing things up and stacking up trucks and blowing them up. And again, I'm talking about blowing things up, but I think that social experience of games is really valuable, and we wanted to kind of say, okay, in Crackdown 2, let's push that further. Let's have 4 people working together in a way that meant that not only can they be working as a tight unit, but also working as a completely disparate unit and using live as a kind of chat network and just talking to each other, goofing off separately or goofing off together. Kind of becomes more of a shared experience, and that's what we felt was the most important thing about it.
Very cool. And to wrap up, when can we finally see Crackdown 2 on store shelves?
So Crackdown 2 will be out July the 6th. Nice summer game for everyone.
Fantastic. You don't need to go to the beach. Stay inside. You'll play Crackdown 2, blow stuff up. Trust me, it'll be a better experience probably.